Good, happy Friday morning, May 22, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, 9 additional deaths related to COVID 19 announced. 67 new cases, all deaths 60 years of age and older. The Department of Health and Human Services has announced 9 deaths related to COVID 19 and 67 new positive test results for COVID 19 in New Hampshire. There have now been 3,935 cases of COVID 19 diagnosed in New Hampshire. Several cases are still under investigation. The 9 deaths, including 5 men from Hillsborough County, 3 women from Hillsborough County, and a man from Rockingham County. All deaths were people 60 years of age and older. Of the cases with complete information, there are 2 individuals under the age of 18, and the rest are adults, with 51% being women and 49 being men. The new cases reside in Hillsborough 30, Rockingham 19, Merrimack 9, Carroll 2, Grafton 2, Cheshire 1, and Stratford 1. The county of residence is being determined for 3 new cases. 8 new COVID-19 hospitalizations were reported, with 393 of the 3,935 positive cases resulting in hospitalizations, according to health officials. Now let's take a look at your COVID-19 in New Hampshire, what you need to know information. And here is a look at that information. There are 3,935 number of people in New Hampshire who have tested positive for COVID-19. 1,620,204 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 199 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 393 number of people who have been hospitalized because of COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 96,282 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. This map of New Hampshire shows you where current cases of COVID-19 are in New Hampshire. Manchester, 534. This map of New Hampshire shows you where total cases of COVID-19 are in New Hampshire. Manchester, 955. Now let's take a look at these 3 charts here. Let's start with new cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations. And in the red are the deaths. And now let's take a look at this chart here. In the purple, total current COVID-19 cases, and in the orange, current hospitalizations. And now let's take a look at this chart here, total cases. In the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases in the purple. In the orange, total hospitalizations. In the red, deaths, and in the blue, recovered. Let's take a look at this chart here, age group by cases. Female and male. And risk information. Let's take a look at this chart here. Race/ethnicity of cases, hospitalizations, deaths, and percent of New Hampshire population. And again, your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Sununu tells Granite Staters to continue social distancing over Memorial Day weekend. Governor says he doesn't see need for heavy-handed enforcement. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Bell-Tate's building supply has been classified an essential business, and we take this responsibility very seriously. Now you have the option to place your orders via phone or email to orders@belltates.com for free delivery or curbside pickup. Stay safe because you matter to us.
In downtown Concord, some restaurants that don't have outdoor seating are working to add it, and more people are getting out and about in the warm, sunny weather. This level of activity is likely a preview of the busy Memorial Day weekend ahead, and Governor Chris Sununu says he knows some Granite Staters are very eager to try to get back to some sense of normalcy amid the pandemic.
We just want to keep encouraging people to keep that physical distancing, be careful of the social gathering in groups of more than 10, and enjoy the weekend for everything it has to offer.
The governor tells us the state will be keeping an eye on places where crowds often gather on Memorial Day weekend in an attempt to make sure closures and other restrictions are not violated. But he says this effort won't look any different than the kind of light touch enforcement the state has been using over the last couple months.
Whether it's working with state police and local law enforcement in the local communities, I think everyone's had a very good approach so far. There's been very few incidents where we've had to come down with that heavy hand.
Sununu says he does expect to deliver news tomorrow about a plan for the eventual reopening of state beaches.
We're still kind of working on the guidelines and the timing of what might be possible, making sure that all the local town issues are being addressed in some way, and making sure we have a comprehensive plan to move forward.
For now, the governor tells us if and when state beaches do reopen, he does not anticipate adding any state staff to try to enforce social distancing guidelines there. But with parking restrictions on places like Hampton Beach, it's possible it will be very difficult for the usual massive crowds to materialize there. Reporting live in Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dow futures drop more than 150 points as Wall Street struggles to recover from Thursday's losses. U.S. stock futures fell early Friday after a decline in some major tech stocks, along with dismal employment data and rising tension with China, pushed the market lower a day earlier. Shooter opens fire at naval station in Corpus Christi. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Breaking developments in that suspected terror attack on a U.S. base in Texas. The FBI now warning that there may be a second person of interest on the loose. Authorities are investigating this video now of the shooting. The suspect opening fire at the gate of the Naval Air Station in Corpus Christi. A sailor was shot and wounded, saved by her bulletproof vest. The gunman was killed in a shootout. But as I mentioned, there is a search tonight now for a possible second person of interest. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
This morning, the naval station in Corpus Christi, Texas, under attack.
Attention all units, they have an active shooter on base.
At approximately 6:15 a.m. local time, an armed suspect speeds through a gate on the base. Authorities looking at this video with what sounds like gunfire. He gets out of his car, reportedly pulling out a handgun and firing, hitting one sailor in the chest who barely escaped serious injury because she's wearing a bulletproof vest. Other security guards respond. With gunfire of their own, he's wounded and later dies. The FBI has not yet identified the shooter.
We have determined that the incident this morning at the Naval Air Station Corpus Christi is terrorism related.
And tonight concerned he may not have acted alone. A search underway for another individual.
We may have a potential second related person of interest at large in the community.
So let's get right to Pierre Thomas tonight. And Pierre, your sources now indicating that authorities are somewhat concerned that extremists may try to launch attacks while America is trying to fight this coronavirus.
That's right, David. In recent weeks, federal authorities have been warning local police that potential mass killers, from white supremacists to Islamic radicals, may see the coronavirus crisis as optimal timing for an attack. David?
All right, Pierre Thomas on the scene unfolding in Texas. Pierre, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Thank you for joining us for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday and a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.